Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the troublesome reign of King John, and we get to hear from King John today in Act 1, Scene 13. And King John has been excommunicated from the church because he refused to acknowledge the new Archbishop of Canterbury, and he was then excommunicated from the church because King John believes that God has the ultimate authority, and then King John is just immediately below that. So he doesn't want to be ruled by the church. But King Philip of France was like, I kind of got to side with the church on this one. So England and France are like once again going to war with each other. And Act 1, Scene 12 that we just finished, we had Hubert, who had been tasked with poking out Arthur's eyes, ultimately deciding that he couldn't go through with that. So he let Arthur go, but they decided amongst themselves that they are going to lie to King John and say that Arthur's eyes were put out, but then because of the pain of it all, Arthur died immediately thereafter. So, Act 1, Scene 13, we are at Canterbury, and King John is there with all of the nobles that are still with him, and he kicks off the scene saying, "Now, warlike followers, resteth aught undone that may impeach us of fond oversight? The French have felt the temper of our swords. Cold terror keeps possession in their souls, checking their overdaring arrogance for buckling with so great an overmatch. The arch-proud titled priest of Italy, that calls himself Grand Vicar under God, is busied now with trental obsequies, mass, and month's mind, dirge, and I know not what, to ease their souls in painful purgatory that have miscarried in these bloody wars. Heard you not, lords, when first his holiness had tidings of our small account of him, how, with a taunt, vaunting upon his toes, he urged a reason why the English ass disdained the blessed ordinance of Rome? The title, reverently, I might infer, became the kings that erst have borne the load, the slavish weight of that controlling priest, who, at his pleasure, tempered them like wax to carry arms on danger of his curse, banding their souls with warrants of his hand. I grieve to think how kings in ages past, simply devoted to the See of Rome, have run into 1,000 acts of shame. But now, for confirmation of our state, sith we have pruned the more than needful branch that did oppress the true well-growing stock, it resteth we, throughout our territories, be re-proclaimed and invested king." So this is John reveling in things and being rather full of himself. He kicks it off like, so have I forgot anything? Or like, did you see the French just running away? Like, everything seems to be hunky-dory and we are totally winning. And then he goes on to mock the church and mock religion, basically, in part because they are now trying to, the people on the French side and the people in the church are trying to help save the souls of all those poor misguided people who decided to fight against King John in these wars. He talks about the misguided wars that are being fought and, lives lost and sorts of things. But he's sort of reveling in the, I'm winning and aren't they silly? And did you hear this story? And yada yada, blah, blah, blah. But then he finishes it off by saying, because everything is going so well, I think the best thing that could happen right now is for me to be recrowned. Let me be reordained as king. And Pembroke is like, I think that's going to create a lot of confusion because the English people already think that you're their king. So if we parade through the streets and re-coronate you and re-crown you, they're going to wonder what happened, that you weren't king for a minute there. Like, I think that that's just going to be messy. And King John is like, I want to be recrowned. Pembroke, you said that you were going to do this, so go do this and prepare everything so that I can be recoronated. And most of the nobles then exit, and the bastard enters. And King John is like, so, how did it go? Like, getting money from all the abbeys and the churches and everything like that. And the bastard's like, I did a good job. I roughed them all up. I got all the money. Things are going good on that front. And King John is like, oh, that's so wonderful. That's so wonderful. So, like, what other things have you heard? What other news is going on at the moment? And the bastard is going to share some news in tomorrow's monologue. So I'll see you then for that. Mwah.